Alright everyone, Travis Mowers gone wild. Yes, the video was late, but you see that? We have a muffler and it's almost looking like it's back together. We got a running board, not technically bolted on right this second, but it has already been bolted once. And this thing is getting so close. So how do we get there? Let's watch the video and find out. Alright, so as I was showing how we got all this thing more or less kabobbled and came up with it, let's see exactly what's going on here. We'll just take this off. This is going to be a mount that I'm going to make. I'm going to take that off and we're going to make a bracket over to that to help hold the muffler in place. And then we're going to make two little spots on both sides of this collector here to help, again, hold this all together. But man, she's looking pretty good. And we got exhaust tape we're going to end up wrapping that with. But first I want to start it, I want to run it, and I want to make sure I got all the leaks or everything that I can out of it. I believe I did really well. It might not look the prettiest, but I water tested this pipe, and everything seemed really good. A little bit more difficult to try to water test this side, but we're just going to kind of send it at this point. So I know it's hard to tell from that other angle, but there's definitely quite a bit of room between here. I don't think we're going to get a whole lot of heat off here, and if we do, again, that's why I'm going to wrap the pipes. There's only so much I can do, but again, there's a decent amount of room here. If I have to build some sort of guard or something, I can try to do that as well, or some kind of heat plate. But with that, again, I'm gonna wrap all this with the heat tape. That will hopefully help dissipate that heat to where it doesn't put too much extra heat on our belt. But just trying to get some better angles so we can kind of see the distance. Again, it's quite a bit off that. There's no set screw or anything. This is just sitting there for mock-up for right this minute. So it's getting really, really close. So I'm really happy with this exhaust. I put a link in the bio. I have not got this started, obviously, or anything yet to see the sound. We'll see if we can get that in this video or not. But it does have a dB killer, decibel killer inside it that is removable. I'm going to leave it in there for right now just to kind of get an idea what kind of sound it would give me with that. Again, I don't want this thing to be obnoxious, but at the same time, I want a good throaty V-twin sound out of this as much as I can. This piece came with it. That was the adapter. I actually had to grind down my collector, that is a 2" to 1 3/4. I had to just grind that down just a tad bit, and then I was able to beat this on with a rubber mallet. So I got a really, really good tight fit here, so I should not really lose anything there. And then this fits in there so good and fits onto that decibel killer, so it all kind of sandwiches together. So it should be a really nice clean flow right out. Luckily I didn't cut back any farther because I actually have to press the hood over just a tad bit, so we'll probably scuff up the muffler a little bit over time right there. But again, I'm happy with it. We put the hood all the way down. We don't really stick out any farther. It just sits right there on the side. Again, pretty clean look. Most of the mud and stuff should splash back and not in there. Again, it's just a muffler at the end of the day. I should never have water really that high that I'm going through. So that's just kind of what we have going on though. So with that, we're going to get this thing wrapped up in the sense of we're going to get everything needed to get the exhaust to be completed. We can check that off the list, get it bolted in completely, get the mount made. Once we do that, we're going to switch gears, get this running board completely back on, hopefully get the foot throttle made, and then we are like this close to being able to actually start and drive this thing. About the only other things that we'll need to do is get the transmission filled back up with oil, and we need to get these front wheels tacked up to be square with the washers. There's more or less some extra room in here, so I need to jack the front up and make sure that they're true as can be, or as close as can be, and then with that, then tack all the washers, take the wheels off, and then weld around. Then eventually I'll paint them as well. Might just paint them black, or whatnot, which we got back gray, so eventually we'll have to get some matching colored rims, but for now we're just gonna get the thing up and rolling and running. So we are, again, really close. I appreciate all the time you guys have put into these videos, and what I mean by that is actually watching them. It gives me more of a purpose and a drive. The channel has grown so much in just the last week. A lot of that drives from TikTok, so any of you guys that came from TikTok or that watch our TikTok or support us, again, really appreciate you guys. You have no clue how much them shares really matter and help them videos build, and especially on TikTok. So really, I'm going to keep posting every single day on there and try to do every single day on YouTube. It really doesn't make sense if you watch both, but feel free. They're pretty much always going to be the same video on all platforms daily. But I really appreciate all the support, and cannot wait to keep growing as a community, get more fans as a whole, and then hopefully, bring us all together. We got the Mowers Gone Wild show and tell your build. Any and all of you, feel free to get in there, rather you're just starting your process, or you're in the middle of it, or you're at the end of it. Share your progress, man. Show us what's going on. Show us when you're out riding. I want to see every day, if I can, other people out doing some of the same things. And if you can start getting some clips, and maybe we'll start getting to share you guys on our channel as well, on the shorts and stuff, to help support you guys. This is more or less a community. Mowers Gone Wild is us, but at the same time, it's all of us if we're keeping them mowers wild. So let's get this thing going. All right, what we're going to do now is we're going to actually make some homemade brackets for the muffler to be able to spring on and hold on to the exhaust header pipe itself. So that way, for one, it's removable, replaceable. Want to take out the dB, decibel, killer, whatever it may be. So that way, again, everything could be kind of universal and changeable if needed. So again, we're going to get this cut up and we'll go from there. So let's get a time lapse going and see how we can do this and how it turns. Alright, so we should be able to connect that there. And connect that just like that. She looks good. Now we'll flip it over. Check out the other side. It's gonna be hot. I added some extra weld in there. I think I got the welding settings just a little bit better tonight than I did just the other night, but that's fine. Alright. So now, right here. This one's going to go right there. Get our clamp back on. Alright, let's get it done. Call that good. She's far from the prettiest. The muffler looks good. She's good and clamped on. everything is set really nice. The mount shouldn't go anywhere. We got more than enough bead there. The header looks pretty solid. Again, a little not the greatest welds. Matt's a little worried that I'm going to get more back pressure this side than this side. It ain't going to the moon. We're going to send it. We'll see how it runs. If I have to make any sort of changes in the future, we'll figure it out. But I've seen people run straight pipes out of these 670s and it works great. So I can't imagine having a little more back pressure out of one side than the other is going to really hurt it. I made sure this is at least really as clean as possible coming up and through here. And then it just wide open into the exhaust. So it's still a shorter throw than this one to begin with. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully we'll be able to start this thing really soon to see what it sounds like. So hope you guys are enjoying. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to get this exhaust all the way bolted back on. And we're going to start figuring out exactly how I'm going to mount a muffler mount. I have a good idea in my head. That fits nice. Nice and tight. Alright. Make sure that got on there all the way. Eliminate any sort of leaking possible. Again, all this should be pretty darn cleaned up and closed up. Yeah, feels nice and solid. I like it. Alright, so we're going to tune back in, but right now what we're going to do is, let's see if we can see this. We're going to take this bolt out right here, take this bracket off, and then we're actually going to make something to go from here over to this clamp. So we're going to make a hanger. So we're going to make something that will go from there to here to help just kind of give this some sort of brace. So let's get that going. So trying to make the mount for the exhaust. I took that piece off that was right on the motor, and I found an old wheel horse bracket, and actually this used to be a belt keeper for the clutch system, so we're actually going to repurpose because that's what I'm all about. And so I'm just going to do some welding on this and get that welded to it, and then this hole should work perfect to get it mounted from the motor right over to the muffler, and at least help keep some of that vibration and give it just some bracing on there itself, just so we're just protected when this thing's going to be bouncing all over the track and trails. So let's get that going and see how it works. Alright, so let's get a check out on this exhaust. It is, I believe it's totally done, other than it needs to be heat wrapped. But at this point, we're not heat wrapping it until we can start test driving, make sure that I don't need to clean up or do any more welds or make any other changes. But everything's all here. I got the spring on both sides. Feels very good. She doesn't move. This is totally pounded more or less onto there. No brakes, no nothing. And then this goes right into the decibel killer, which actually has a nice sandwich into it. And as you can see, this has no play in it. We end up making a custom mount over. I took this, turned it around, bent it down, and then we welded, this actually used to be an old belt keeper on the clutch that I ended up changing and modifying, and already had the perfect hole, perfect length, everything. Just welded that on there, right to there. So there she be. And let's see if we get this closed. We'll see exactly what it looks like. Alright, so we got it nice and latched. It's definitely a tight fit. It does rub a little bit right there, but I'm okay. It ends almost right with the front end, just a little bit behind. So still, again, gives it a really nice clean look. It's not going to stick too far off. So we'll take a step back now. We'll see what she looks like from back here, which again, I'm totally okay with what this looks like. I think it looks really clean. I don't know how else I would have done the exhaust. I don't want to just have straight pipes. I don't want anything going down. I really didn't want to stack up. I just think that gives it a nice clean look up to the front. I like the flat black or matte black muffler. And they're going to end up heat wrapping this, which is black as well. Yeah, again, one thing that's done, been a worry of mine, wondering how I was going to do it, and it's checked off the checklist. So now let's get this foot throttle going, and we'll do an update on that really soon here. So let's hopefully we can get this done tonight, and two of the main things needed to get this thing running should be done. So we'll see if we can get this thing started soon. Alright everyone, Travis Mower's Gone Wild. I know I probably said this a million times already, but can't stop introducing myself because I'm Travis Mower's Gone Wild. I'm out here with the wheel horse, the wild horse, and we're about to call it night. It is almost midnight again, third night this week, where I'm probably going to be out here over midnight, but I'm just this close and it's hard to stop working. So let's see what I did. So, again, exhaust is done, bracket's done, everything's mounted. Belt's all back on. What I've been needing to do, I did a tack there to help balance it. There's a set screw, but we've had one of these come off before. So just a couple tacks, I can clean that up if I ever need to take it off. But ideally, I should never have to change that or anything along them lines. So it's one of the really nice steel cast iron ones. Well, yeah, steel. So they last much longer. All new idlers. This is all fully back into place. Give me a second to zoom back out here, guys, sorry. So this is all bolted back down, foot pedals back on. As soon as I went to go undo that thread, my tack weld on the bolt fell off, so we went ahead and we re-welded all of that back on there. As you can see, there's a cable. So I actually had another piece that came off this mower at one time, and I welded that right there. What that does is the cable housing for my foot throttle, you can see I have it snaked around so we can see through here, and everything is kept behind pretty decent. There's really no way this is going to really get into that belt. I have an adjustable piece there that I can thread out if I need to. This has a spot that I can undo that. I can pull or tighten the cable at any time. But that housing comes up, stops right here. Then I have, as you can see right here, it's just a brake cable, and I put a bigger stopper on the end just to give me, again, just to make sure it never pulls through, and I can even adjust from right here if I really want instead of the foot throttle. But when I push my gas down, look at that. I have good throttle response. Exactly what we want. Open, shut, open, shut. Got a nice return spring. They got really good tension there. Still the stock carb. This is going to eventually change. We keep boosting our subscribers and everything else. Help get some money back in my pocket, and I can go ahead and I can get that. Otherwise, go on to mowersgonewell.com, and the Wild Horse shirt is up. And if we can sell some of them shirts, that will again help me have some more profit to put in my pocket to be able to spend the $450 or so to buy the whole single carb kit for this. I cannot wait to do that. But right this second, wedding and everything else this year, and what was supposed to not spend any money, I have spent obviously money. Muffler costs money, exhaust, everything else, belts, idler pulleys. It's still, you know, luckily I've already had the tires, I've already had the motor, but there's been a lot of other odds and ends that I've had to spend money on to get this thing up and even to this point. But return spring here for the throttle. So again, everything has a really nice, so I have actually quite a bit of control through here with the gas, and then the more I press down, the farther that will go down. I'm gonna have to put an RPM gauge on here so I can figure out exactly you know, what's too much. I don't have this actual governed, so that's just something I'm always gonna have to be aware of. Something I'll have to get used to, the sound of the motor. I'll probably end up mounting or something of the RPM gauge right here. I have one. I can tie around the spark plug. I've done one before. That way I can keep an eye on my RPMs and what's going on with the motor at all times, because the last thing I want to do is have a motor issue. The thing is completely stock, other than now the exhaust. 9-inch pulley there with about a 4 in the back. So yeah, we are, I mean, we're like this close to being able to start this thing. Need to get a battery in there. Tires and stuff can go back on almost at any point now. I need to fill the trans. There's no gas in this thing yet. Battery needs to go back in, and I just need to connect a couple grounds. And then officially for race ready, for what we consider safe and race and trail ready, I need a tether hooked up to this. I have one of my toggles for a kill to the coil, but I also need a tether as well that I hook to myself when I'm out riding in case I fall off or anything like that. The mower shuts down. So, and then need to finish up the wheels. Once that's done, this thing can roll out, start driving it, see how it all works. I already have everything for the front bumper, but I'm going to wait to do that until everything else is kind of worked out. And then obviously we need to get the darn names on there. Now that this thing's so close to starting, that needs to happen like maybe next week on the live. That gives me a really short window, but I need to get that damn sticker done and start getting the 5 or 6 names that need to go on this hood, and hopefully motivate some of you guys to go buy a shirt and help sponsor this build. Again, it's just going to be helping Mowers Gone Wild thrive. You guys already been doing a kick-ass job on TikTok and YouTube. I mean, how many people we have gained in subscribers and followers in just this week alone has been phenomenal, and I can't thank you guys enough. So please, again, like, share, subscribe to us if you haven't already during this video, and continue to follow along with us. And let's get this thing out very, very soon, and let's keep them mowers wild, guys, and we'll see you next time. Alright, I'm out here in the garage with the Wild Horse, which you guys should already know, being that's the video we're watching. Another day and another dollar spent, and now some more things that need to be done to hopefully to where we might be able to start this thing by the end of the day. It's a Saturday. We did not post a video this Thursday, and I'm so sorry about that. I've been working so hard, and I end up sacrificing video editing time for getting this thing that much closer. We've already seen all the exhaust, put throttle, blah, blah, blah. Now we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. End up making another change to the clutch. I end up putting the clutch spring all the way back to here. So that thing is very taut. That pedal's a lot stiffer, and I'm hopefully going to be happy with that. It already feels a lot better on the clutch itself. So when I custom made this to fit down in here to make this a 1-pedal brake clutch combo, I did not make that bolt long enough, because when I mocked it up, I thought I'd have a shorter throw on the clutch. Well, in this case, I'm going to have a longer throw. So what we need to do is make a modification. We need to cut that bolt off and just put a longer one with more threads. So pretty straightforward, and that will give me more adjustment for the brake itself, because right now I don't get the full throw for the clutch and the brakes immediately lock up, which is obviously not ideal for what we want to do. After we do that, I bought new hem joints, and we got some new hem joints here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take both sides off, and we're just going to cut off, weld fine thread 3/8 24 to that, screw this on for this, and then we'll weld a 90-degree off bolt to be able to bolt up to in there. And sorry if you can't see that right, but I'll end up showing a little bit more when we get to that process. So that's another thing that needs to be done, and gosh, and that's how short the list is actually getting. So that, filling the trans with oil, getting the battery in, making sure everything's wired up. Might just go ahead and get the tether switch up here and installed as well. But hopefully this thing will be fired up by the end of the day. So let's get it going. Well, good and bad news. I finally got it running, and I got it running right. Sitting at an idle. The idle can be adjusted down a little bit. But here, why don't we just... Well,